Greetings, everyone. This is a shot of whiskey, and I swear to all that will kill a liver, I will get this video made. I tried to use OBS, but for some reason, the sound kept coming out like a robot trying to do a Donald Duck impression. Then I used my all-new to me, state-of-the-cheap Walmart art camcorder. Now, while the visual and audio qualities are nice, I used about as much as a Canadian Prime Minister trying to excuse his tyranny. Therefore, I have decided to write out this speech and create a video that is more akin to my normal presentation format. Now, the meat of this video will be me giving a more specific response to someone whom I've decided not to identify yet. And despite me telling this person at one point that I was going to go out of my way to be a dick towards them, I'm not going to do that because I don't think it'll be as productive. Why? Because this is as close to a debate as they wanted to have. So I will be somewhat civilized, though there will be a few dick moments as I go along. Also, this person has claimed that they will watch this video in its entirety and either post a reply in my comments section, which if that happens, I will pin it for you all to see, or they will make their own video response for me to watch, which I will pin a comment to that video down below so that y'all can watch this person fail yet again. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To bring y'all up to date, I responded to a YouTube video about 7 months ago, basically saying that there is no benefit for a man to get married. About 2 weeks ago, Mystery Meat attempted to prove me wrong. As the conversation continued, one thing that was brought up was that I gave a short response to a massive post that they typed up, and that I planned on making this video for the sake of going into further detail. Now, before I show y'all that massive post, or miraculously the portion of it that has an actual list in it, I wanted to show you what I posted that led to this video's creation. To this individual, I said, "Wow, a long list of BS that I can't address at the moment on account of me being on my cell, so I'll make this brief." Now, I suppose I could have added that I was also at work, but I hoped they would have understood that responding to all of the points in a girthy post is not the same thing as creating a girthy post out of nothing more than the thoughts in your head, especially while typing on a cell phone. Continuing, your points are not factual. They are, at best, are possible. Here is undeniable proof that I can make typos too. They are not guarantees, and many men believe and experience the complete opposite. You see, what this person seems to think is that marriage is as consistent as 2 plus 2 equals 4. I am basing this on how the points are presented more than what the points actually are. Before I apply simple logic, allow me to share with y'all the first 2 of 3 paragraphs they typed in response.
You are free to disagree with me. There's no need to get mad.
Look, they're imagining things that never happened.
It's just a difference of opinion. Dismissing my argument as just BS isn't really debating the topic. It's just ignoring it.
Not only did I not dismiss your points, but you are guilty of the very thing you are accusing me of doing.
You may disagree with every point I made, and that's fine.
Yeah, because they were terrible points.
But BS doesn't address any of this.
Which is why I added a few more sentences afterwards. That was the addressing of which you claim to seek, and why this video is being made. Because you need a free man to baby step something simple. Speaking of simple...
Yes, my response was long, but you did ask me for reasons.
Technically, I just asked how marriage benefits men. Reasons implies more than one, but if you have a good enough argument, you can get the job done with just one good reason. Quality over quantity is a far better approach to debates.
If you are wanting him to list reasons out, it is going to be a long list. Lists, by their very nature, are long. All I did was reply to what you asked.
I never said to give me a list. You took the initiative to make one. Also, lists don't have to be long. A list can be as short as 2 things, and some might even say that you can have a list with 1. You can also have a list with many points, but the points can also be short, condensed to 1 or 2 words.
By the way, I typed that response on mobile, so it's not impossible.
I already addressed this, but since it appears that simple concepts take a while to sink in for you, I will say it again with more detail. What you wrote were things that you pulled out of thin air. You were not responding to every word, every sentence, every paragraph of a lengthy post that came before yours. You were responding to less than 50 words with over 400. That is not the same thing as responding to every single point in a more than 400 words post on YouTube with a cell phone. The screen is small, and you would have to scroll down as you go along, except that as one does that, a message pops up that says you can either keep writing or you have to discard what you've worked on, meaning you have to start over. I hope you understand what I was getting at now. Since I have written this speech out before recording it, I can only guess how long this has gone on so far. So, I will get back on track and share with all of you what these points are and why this person is wrong.
Number 1, it gives us a partner in whom we can trust with anything because of our commitment to each other.
No, it doesn't. If this were true, then Maury Povich would be out of a job because women would never cheat on their men. No affairs with work associates, the mailman, your own relatives, or random chads that make her fish box drip. MGTOW are aware of many stories in which a husband finds out that the kids he has been raising are not actually his. Trust means nothing. Here's another way in which your trust narrative is bunk. A couple months ago, I found a channel that appears to be text messages from Apple users in which at least one party involved was a bad person. The video I'll be referencing is of a man who lost both of his parents before meeting his wife. During the video, we learned that, along with lying about how much money he makes, the wife, as well as the mother-in-law, were mocking the deaths of his parents in the conversation, and that this was not the first time they did this. It should go without saying that if he was going to marry this woman, he should naturally trust that she wouldn't rub their deaths in his face whenever she felt like hurting him. Or better yet, that she wouldn't try to hurt him. Your point does not apply to reality. Oh, and why should you trust her when women lie about themselves and encourage others to lie? To you. Link in the description below in case you are curious. Why trust and wife up a liar?
Number 2, having a partner who can help us achieve our goals because our goals become intertwined is incredibly helpful.
Another alleged guarantee that does not pan out in the real world, and strangely enough, I think you know that. You used the word can, suggesting that you know that sometimes they can't or won't. A lot of this depends on what the goals are and how much she is willing and able to contribute. To make this simple, let's pretend that I have been so convinced by your list that I got married this weekend. I have 2 goals right now: to write my fantasy novel and get it published, and to lose at least 2 inches from my waistline by August and or 4 inches by November. Now, to put that in the world of make-believe, perhaps Mrs. Whiskey has editing training and plans to prepare healthy meals more often. Perhaps Mrs. Whiskey will be ever so diligent in taking care of any potential distraction and do research on local gyms. Perhaps the former Miss Vodka, Miss Sake, or Miss Tequila will fight with me over her opinions that my orcs should be more like Shrek and less like Worf, and that my elves should be the heroes instead of the villains, and whine about how my pursuits to shed pounds are making her feel insecure about her own body. Perhaps she will nag me about wasting time writing my shitty story because she, in her infinite wisdom, foresees nobody wanting to read it, and that I should stop lifting weights and jogging because I am almost 40 and will never be as healthy and fit as I was in my teens, so I should stop trying to reach these goals and stick to doing whatever she commands. Whether it's to collect Lego sets, visit all 50 states, own a Taco Bell, go back to school, get a grower's license for medical marijuana, beat Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, buy your dream set of wheels, run for public office, or learn how to knit. A wife could be a benefit, or she could be an obstacle.
Number 3. Having the influence of a woman in our lives on a daily basis,
Skipping the irrelevant parts in parentheses,
affects how most men treat the world.
lots of things can do that. What makes a wife unique in this regard?
Most of us have a tendency to be a bit brash, chaotic.
Which sounds like something you'd hear in a D&D parody.
But women help us to reel that in.
What a crock. I can only assume that by saying brash chaotic, you mean of a jerk. If that is correct, I have 4 things to point out. 1. As men, we can use that brashy chaoticness to accomplish things, great things. And how are we men supposed to be able to protect the wifey if we can't be meanie heads to other men who don't have a ball and chain to rein in that aggression? 2. Any woman, let alone one that you foolishly sign your soul and bank account to, has the potential to be more brash chaotic than you or even any man you have ever met. 3. Many men, if not most, don't need a nagging emotional harpy to direct us to treat the world better. We can already do that. 4. If your claim were 100% spot on, then there would never be a case of man-on-woman domestic violence. Wives would never be beaten or murdered by their husbands.
Number 4. Having someone to fight for gives our drive even more power and our desire to pour into this world even greater.
Now, technically, I don't disagree with this point as a simple statement. However, you are attempting to use this as a way to justify self-inflicted slavery. Men don't have to be bound to a wife in order to have that power in our drive. Some of us can be driven by other people we care about. In my case, that would be my son. I don't need a legally obligated dependent with tits to have that type of oomph. You know who else can be our driving force? Ourselves. Many MGTOW understand that our own well-being is all the drive we need to accomplish our goals, to put in 100% in whatever we do. For now, I'll just show y'all the final paragraph from this lengthy post. John or Jane Doe claimed that they understand why some people don't want to get married and wants to put an emphasis on fucking as if that is a reason for MGTOW to go MGTOW, and that they won't try to stop us. Well, good on you, but your final sentence is imagination land nonsense. Chances are almost nobody born from 1980 to 2005 who gets married at any point in their 20s will have a successful marriage that lasts to the age of 65. Hell, I'd even extend that to those who waited until their 30s and those born in the 70s. Many, 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 many men before getting into their 50s have been divorced and destroyed at least once, then get back into their cells because they have ingested this blue pill Disney princess rom-com trash. The same trash that makes these little chickadees, pit bulls, and land whales believe they deserve a 10 out of 10 man and nothing less. And that's sad. There are too many men out there who believe that they can never be happy unless they have a woman by their side. Robin Williams self-deleted himself just after turning 63. Why? I believe it was at least partially because he was in his third marriage while still having to pay alimony to his first two exes. Now, could I be wrong? Sure, but does it matter? He was so miserable that he couldn't find the strength to live for 2 more years. Clearly, being married to Susan Schneider, whoever that is, didn't do a damn thing to make him happy. Likewise, there are men who have never been married and have enjoyed their lives by the time they reach 65. Leonardo DiCaprio is less than 20 years away from reaching this number that you have chosen. He has never been married, which anyone who's not a moron can figure out that he could have been hitched by now if he wanted to be. And he is living an amazing life because he's successful and free. Now, clearly, just about all of us will never reach Leo's level of worldly success, but we can all reach that same level of fulfillment without a woman legally tied to our wallets. I have an uncle who is a good example of this, actually. He's about to turn 70 and has never been married. He owns 2 companies and lives on a nice piece of property that is in his name. In my near 40 years of life, I have only seen him in one serious relationship, and it took a massive beating to him mentally. He was stressed out all the time, began drinking at dangerous levels, and was tired and lacking energy in everything he did. After a while, any chance he had to run away, he would go for it, knowing that he was going to be nagged at, regardless if he went out or if he came home straight after work. He looked like a fat drogger. Well, not anymore. Basically, the answer is not get married for guaranteed happiness at 65. The correct answer is work hard, take care, and be smart to better your chances to be happy at 65. You want to know why I personally am a MGTOW? How I know that this is the correct path for me, as well as any man in the real world today who has any respect for himself? The high divorce rates and the near guarantee that said divorce will be pursued by the trusting, helpful, calming, inspirational wives that you think we need. Understanding what divorce courts are like, what family courts are like, and what the legal system is like has led many to MGTOW. Hell, it's how MGTOW began. I've been saying this for years. Marriage is like playing Russian roulette with 4 bullets in the cylinder instead of 1, and MGTOW have chosen not to play the game. And personally, even if I wanted to get married, who the hell am I going to marry? I don't have the time to invest in searching for a future Mrs. Whiskey. I'm a busy man. Full-time employee with late hours. Full-time single father. I don't have the time to waste on swimming through a sea of feminine noise in the imbecilic hope of fighting a loud, bloody mammary monster. Hell, I barely have time to make 2 or more videos for YouTube. What makes you think I have the time to waste on dating? I have enough on my plate. I am done. I still think this video would have been more productive if the person whom shall not be named agreed to have an actual conversation with me rather than cower because I used 2 letters that represent a potty word while correctly pointing out that their list did not have the impact that they thought it would. We could have covered some interesting ground that neither of us have thought to talk about yet. We certainly would have had a better understanding of where we are in life. I don't know if this person is 10 or 100, a man or a woman in disguise. We missed out on a chance to have a great conversation, but they ran and hid like a child does when Uncle Joe comes over. Wait, did I just compare myself to a mumbling, bumbling pedo-potato man? Ew, I need a drink. But, with that being said, never forget, if you abuse alcohol, it will abuse you back.